Okay, sorry. I wanted to light a little bit of smudge here, but wow, okay. Hey, we needed that, I guess. Welcome, one and all. I'm so glad you're here for another adventure on Spirit Sessions of View of the Light. And today we have a lady that is so adventurous. She travels around the world. I mean, she's a returning guest, and I can't wait to tell you all about Jackie Dennison. Well, I'll throw it to Rhonda to do that, but we're so excited. And today we're going to have a card pull later on, so you want to stay to the end. And Jackie will be pulling that card for us that we all love to wait for. And also, please like and subscribe and have a lot of fun. Today, we are talking about haunted history. What could that be? I'm so excited to find out about this. I'm so excited that we have Jackie with us here again today. My other co-host, we have Rhonda Elliott of Cerulean Forest Reiki. We have Teresa Clan of teresaclan.com. We're ready for this. So, Rhonda, you've had this long-time friendship and admiration of Jackie. Tell us about that and bring her in.
And Spirit Sessions have been connected to Jackie for a long time. We've had her on a couple of times on our show, not as much because she's so busy. And we've been on her show with Psychic Diaries. I was a fan before we started this show when she did Rescue Mediums and filmed it in Canada. She's an international film star and TV star. She's a psychic medium. She's a spiritual artist, and she's now got so busy. She has programs in Japan, and she's just she has a podcast. She's on with Inspector Paranormal, Inspector Paranormal, and just was at the award ceremony for that. And she has a new series with Megan Downs, Haunted History, and we'd love you to tell us all about that. And you're just keeping busy. You're like globe-trotting all over the place.
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, ladies, for inviting me on. I always like to connect with like-minded people, and you are three like-minded people without a shadow of a doubt. So thank you.
That's wonderful. And I mean, people are always excited when you come on. You'll have to tell us a bit about your new show, Haunted History, because that sounds really exciting. And you don't have to go quite as far afield. Are you just sort of mostly in the UK with that one?
Yeah. I mean, I'm working on this show with Megan Downs, and she's a young medium. You've met Megan. You've had her, I think, on your show before.
Yeah.
I'm sure she'd be more than happy to come on again. We have filmed season 1. That's already available on our YouTube channel, which is the Haunted History YouTube channel. And we are now in the middle of season 2. In fact, we are filming on Monday of this next week, episode 4, I think. So, yeah, we're well into this. Yeah, we love it. We love working together anyway. And it's, I think the difference with Haunted Histories as opposed to rescue mediums, we still go into haunted locations, but with rescue mediums, we don't know where we're going. We're not told anything in advance, and we go in to help homes and businesses. Whereas with Haunted Histories, we know we're going to a place that has got loads and loads of history. So it could be a pub or an inn, or even just the location itself that has a lot of history. Like one of the places that we went to is a place called Sandbach in England, the northwest of England, and they have Saxon crosses in the market square. So you've got the history of the place itself, which is interesting. And what we tend to do is we allow spirit to lead us where we're meant to be. So it's haunted history, psychics on the ghost trail. So we go on a ghost trail. So spirit tend to, we still don't know where we're going, but we always end up somewhere. So it could be, in this case with Sandbach, we ended up in a medieval manor house, which is now like a pub. It's part of a pub chain. So you encounter lots of different individuals along the pathway. We like spirit to tell us their story, their history. And it might be something that is in the history books that our researcher then goes away and has a look at and says, oh, yeah, this person is connected to that house or it's connected to the village. But we might turn something up that's not in the history books at all. And then the researcher has to go and look at parish records or anything that's available in maybe old newspapers and things to turn up a story. So and we're working with things right from, I don't know, the time of the Vikings, maybe when the Vikings invaded England, and or even like something that happened in medieval times and there's nothing really chronicled, and then we have to unravel a story. So lots of different characters. We've encountered characters that have been hung, so we unravel their stories. Why were they hung? What was their story? We tried to get the spirits that we encountered to tell their own tales, their own history, as well as the history of the place that we're in. So, and it is mainly in the northwest of England, in Cheshire and Lancashire, which is where we're from. We're from two different places. So Megan is from Bolton in Lancashire, and I'm from Cheshire. But we're visiting places on the Wirral as well, which is that has been really interesting because we go into like underground caves and things like that. Yeah,
That would be scary enough just doing that.
That'd be fun.
We didn't even know when we went into this place. Now, this is part of season 2. We went to an amusement arcade in a place called New Brighton. And what we didn't know was underground in this amusement arcade, there are tunnels. And the owner let us go into the tunnels to explore the tunnels, which have now been converted into a museum. And they're hoping to get funding to put this into a proper museum. And it was used for all sorts of things during World War II. The American army were based there, for example, and there was a munition. Look, this is before I've had a drink of wine. I can't even get my words out. There were a munitions factory there that was run in these caves, but we uncovered a lot more than that. We uncovered things like pirates that were there, and then we had to go and explore that. So. Really, really interesting, fascinating places that spirit are leading us from one place to another. It's like join the dots on the spirit trail. So, yeah, we're both enjoying it very much. And I think because it's a different kind of angle to things, because I'm an older person with a lot of experience, and Megan is a younger person who has also got a lot of experience. But we come at things from different angles, and it's almost like it's a mother-daughter sort of connection, which is really nice. And I absolutely love working with Megan, and I know that she enjoys working with me as well. And we do bring things from different angles, and because I've got a lot of experience with doing this kind of work, she will ask me questions like, how did you do that? Or what does that mean? If I was to, for example, say, get into a really, an old place, like for example, a Tudor house in Chester. And I would say, oh, change it and show me how it was before it became what it is now. And so then I would get the room changing in my mindset, and I'm always using, as you know, always using my hands. to read the energy. And Megan would say to me, how do you do that? What are you doing? So then I would explain to her what I was doing. Then she'd say, I want to go with that. I want to do that. So she's got that youthful enthusiasm that comes across. But what's actually happening as well is the viewer is gaining that knowledge as we're talking about something. She will ask a question like, what does it mean when that happens? And then I'll explain to her. Or she's really, really good with all the Wiccan stuff. She likes all the Wiccan-y kind of things. So we may go to a graveyard and there's a particular tree that's there, just for example, and she'll say, oh, do you know why this is here? And she comes out with all of this fascinating information that I have no idea what she was talking about, and she explains it to me. So we're learning from each other all the time, which I think is really, really important, because as you know, we never stop learning.
Awesome.
To me, it's fascinating. When I was over there, here in North America, 350 years, it's a long time. Like that's a really old place here. But we're talking like thousands of years. Some of the places are thousands of years. Some of the stone sites and some of your buildings are like from the 1100s. And there was nothing but forests here in the 1100s. It was a lot nicer probably. But it's amazing the history in your history, right? It's just like,
right.
Do you think it gets recorded in the stones? Do you think a lot of that history gets recorded in the stones?
Absolutely, yes. And that's why I like working with energy, using my hand chakras as well as the psychic antenna and everything else that we work with as psychics and mediums. Because stones contain the energy, the ground contains an energy. If you were to walk into, say, a field and a battle had occurred there, as a sensitive, you would feel that something had happened on that land, maybe. And if you connect to the energy of the land through either putting your hands into the ground, or if there is stonework there, putting your hands on the stone, you can read the energy that is contained there. Trees as well are really, really good for containing information. If you were to, hug a tree or put your third eye to a tree and say, what have you seen through all of the years of you being here? You do get images that will come to you as a sensitive or psychic or a medium. And so yes, I do absolutely believe that those stones contain information that we can connect with. This is what absolutely bowls me over about the kind of work that we do. When you link it with history as well, if you're say, you've gone into a Scottish castle, for example, because I know you were talking about Scotland, you go into a Scottish castle that has been there since the year dot, and you put your hand, it might even be a ruin now, but if you put your hands onto the walls of there, how many people have done that? Going back in time, how many people have put their energy there? What were those people thinking about when they did that? How many people pass through that doorway, that archway, that maybe it's just a little tiny fragment of an archway now? And you can read so much information just by becoming in tune with the energy of the place itself. And the stones absolutely will hold a lot of that energy. So
absolutely. I remember when I went to Roslin Chapel in Scotland, and I don't know, the ethers were so thick there. I think if someone walked in and they could never see auras before, they could there. Wow. There was just so much happening there. It was just, a feast for the senses. And Jackie, I live on the West Coast in Canada. And so when I do client sessions with the First Nations people, mediumship, the ancestors always come through, because they have such a long history with the land and it's a living they're living relationships, much like there are from where you are, right?
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So it feels like a privilege to be able to do this kind of stuff. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. To be able to connect in that way with the ancestors of the land, I think is really something that is, you would be very, very privileged to be party to. We don't always understand the how things were back in time because we think in a different way than they would have done. You know, this in this day and age, you know, we've got all the technology that we use. I mean, right now it's technology. We're talking to each other in different parts of the world all at the same time, which is amazing. We're time traveling, but in a completely different way, you know, using technology to be able to help us to time travel in this way. And then when, you know, viewers watch this back, they're time traveling because they're in a different time to us, you know. So um, when we look at it in that way and we go back through time, which we can through to connect with the ancestors of the land, they thought in a completely different way. Like their customs would be different to our customs today. Um, and depending on where in the world you came from, things would be very, very different culturally. And within the clans of the day, they would have a hierarchy of things, and things would be done completely differently, which would be very strange to us today. Maybe in some ways we think, oh gosh, that's really awful, you know, like uh, sacrificial things, just for example, which we would not do today. And we have to be so politically correct today as well with how we say things or how we don't want to upset anybody, you know. So we have to be very careful how we communicate and how we say things. But when you go right back to the land and how it was before we were even here, we can learn so much from the cultures and what life meant before we had cell phones and television sets and the internet and all of this, you know. Even going back just, you know, like 100 years and how different it was then to how it is now. I think one of the things that I've learned, because I had a huge cultural shock working in Japan, and the way that they think that I love Japan, by the way, I can't wait to be going back there. And culturally, things haven't changed that much culturally over the years, even though they are more, everything is more like politically correct and everything now. Um, and you don't get the same kind of feeling to things, but the respect is there. Everything is about respect for the land, respect for the air, the mountains. It's a beautiful way of looking at life. This total respect for what they have in nature. And I think that's something that we can all learn from. We can all learn from that kind of thing. I worked with historical things there in Japan. Love doing that. Absolutely love doing that. Working it in a different way. One of the last shows that I've done for them, I worked with energies, trying to unravel historical things. Again, it is a haunted history kind of thing, unraveling historical information about two different time frames. One was going back to the 1500s, 1600s, and trying to unravel their history. Another one was in the 1800s and trying to unravel that history, like the myths. What are the myths around this? And hopefully we were able to do it. But it was fascinating doing that, going to some beautiful temples, absolutely gorgeous.
Wow. How awesome.
Is
I'm still
that
looking.
available for us to watch, or is it only in Japan right now? Or have they syndicated the Japanese shows that you've done?
So sorry, just say that again, Rhonda.
Sorry, have they syndicated the Japanese shows? Is there any way for us in North America to see those now?
No, no, all of the show. I've done 3 for them so far, and as far as I know, they're only available in Japan. I am the only English speaker there. And so I have an interpreter, but when it's shown on screen, because I have seen the shows, when they are shown on screen, you can hear my voice in the background, but there is a lady, a Japanese lady, who is repeating what I'm saying, you know, so it's not dubbed as such, but she is repeating what I'm saying. She's sort of talking over me, but you can hear my voice in the background. And of course, the interpretation is never entirely as it's given. So I have to be really careful how I present the information that I'm being given, because this is all very new to Japan. This is the kind of work that I do, mediumship and energy work is very new. They have a lot of fortune tellers, but not necessarily mediumship. And so it's unraveling things. I love unraveling mysteries. That's what I love to do, you know. And it's more important, I think, because, you know, I don't speak Japanese. So I can't read. I have to have an interpreter with me at all times. I don't speak Japanese, and although a lot of the Japanese people do speak English and do make an effort to speak English, us English-speaking people are really quite uh, backwards in coming forwards, if you like, that we don't actually make an effort to try and speak another language. Because the English language is so available around the world. So when I'm working in Japan, not only do I have to have an interpreter there, I'm working with spirit energy that speaks a different language.
Oh,
Yeah, I was going to ask about that, how that works when you go somewhere where maybe, for instance, Japanese is not a tongue that you're familiar with.
Exactly, you know, and so the only way I can describe it is that the thought is the same in any language. It doesn't matter
yeah.
what name you give to an apple or an orange or a pear or whatever. It's the image is the same. It's just that the word to describe it is different. So I tend to work with a lot of imagery anyway with when spirit work with me. So I didn't find it that difficult really. Once I got into the habit of it, I tell you what I did find difficult is when I was working with going way back in Japanese history to the 1600s, because how the written word and the spoken language was different. It's like, you know, they would have spoken in England, for example, in the days of William Shakespeare, they spoke in a different way to how we speak today. So, you know, it's like these and thous, and, you know, that you have to understand even the complexity of how sentences were put together and how someone would think differently, because we live in a different society, a different age. So in Japan, it was no different, in that you're working with a different kind of culture in the 1600s than you would be in the 1800s or 1900s or in this century now. So they got me to read, or I didn't know I was going to do this. I was in a temple and they brought out a document. The priest brought out a document and laid it on the table. It's like a big scroll that was unrolled, you know, it was got like a paper on a roll with a line. And so, and he wore the gloves and everything. And I wasn't going to touch this. I did this with 2 different documents in 2 different temples for 2 different situations. But this one in particular, this was ancient Japanese writing. And so the Japanese people who were reading it were not able to read it because it's in an ancient language. So it's like, I suppose, seeing something in Latin. And you know, it's in a Latin language, which was the language that was used in England, during the sort of the 12th century. You would find something in Latin. Everything would be written in that way, or in Old English. This was traditional Japanese, but historical Japanese writing. And so only the priest knew what was in this letter, this document. And they wanted me to read it. They wanted me to try and find out what was in this document by using my hand chakras as in psychometry. But because the document is so old, I wasn't allowed to touch it. So I had to scan it from a distance. So I'm saying to my guides all the time, oh, please just give me an inkling of what's going on here, because I have no idea what I'm reading. And of course, they write from the right to the left and down the page. It's not across the page like that. It's down like this. So I did it with both hands, tried to scan it. And I got the sort of inkling that it was some kind of a letter, but it was to do with individual people, and something that was given to each individual. I didn't know if it was a monetary thing or what. I didn't know, but I just felt that that's what it was. And as I'm scanning it, I felt that 3/4 of the way across the document that the energy changed. And I felt that that part was different to the very sort of end of the document, that there was a different value there, but everything felt the same. And I felt that the man who had written the document was a very fair man. So when the priest explained what was there, what the document was all about, it was about retainers to the man who had written this document a long time ago, and he had they were names of individuals who had sort of died in battle for him, or who had died in his service. And everyone had a name, the name given, and their rank, except the very last person. And there was a name, but there was no rank, because he didn't have a rank, but he still died in the service of this. I'm going to say like a warlord. They died in his service. But what the monetary thing was, it wasn't money, it was rice. Each family were allotted the same amount of rice for the families. So it was a respect thing, that no man was any different to the others, even though one was like a high ranking general and the other man had no title or anything, but they were all equal. And so that's what the document was about. And even though I couldn't say, oh, this is rice, I knew it was some kind of a value. And I knew that the energy was different at the end than it was the rest of the document, because the energy felt different. And I knew that there was a difference there between whoever this was and whoever this was at the end. It was different. So that fascinated me. And I just went, oh, thank you. After I'd finished reading the document, the priest told us what it was, because even the Japanese people who were there could not read the document, because of it was in an ancient script. So I feel very, very lucky to be able to do that kind of thing and to experience that. And I love how spirit energy works in that way, because I couldn't read Japanese. I was getting the information from a Japanese person who had written it, but I got the feeling of what it was about, even though it wasn't monetary. It was rice, but it was still a thing of value,
Isn't that fascinating?
Like I remember I was talking to my husband, and we were listening to something about Kim Kardashian being upset with her psychics because they said she would pass the bar, and then she fired them all and then went on a tirade. but it didn't mean she was going to pass the bar this time. It could be like in the future. But anyways, I always said like the best psychics are only 75% correct all the time. Is that what you, even the best? Because there's so many variables, right? We have our own interpretations, like, and spirit has its own interpretations, and what our experience doesn't always match what their experience is
Yeah.
that would be fair to say, you know.
Yeah, totally. I am just going to have to plug in. I'm sorry, I thought it was plugged in, but it's not turned on.
No
I'm not
worries.
a very good psychic because I didn't know that happened.
Well, you're reading a different kind of energy, Jackie. That's all.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of energy. We all have to get plugged in before our screen goes bad. Teresa Warren, have you
Okay,
experienced
we're all
with?
plugged in.
Oh, good. Now we won't lose you. Jackie, tell us about your very paranormal.com channel, because I was hoping that the Japanese one would be on there. Not.
No, it's not on that one because it is made by a Japanese. So it was made for Fuji TV. And so it went out on Fuji TV. I do think it's available on different channels now in Japan, but I don't know. So I wouldn't not be allowed to put it out on veryparanormal.com for that reason. Haunted Histories, of course, is available on veryparanormal.com, but it's also available on our YouTube channel as well. Inspector Paranormal, which is the show that I'm also involved in. Now, that is a podcast. And so, that is, you can plug yourself in as you're doing your exercises or doing your walk or whatever, and you can listen to our investigations and our adventures on there. That
It's
is
got a
not
written
available.
soundscape, so you don't miss the pictures. Really, it's very well done. It's like
You know what? Tom Barrow, who is the creator of that show, has such an amazing mind and wanting to bring that into. He wants to tell the story from the homeowner's point of view. These are people who have had real experiences, who are not going out looking for, ghosts and spirits in place. They're not doing their investigation. So it's very similar, I think, to rescue mediums in that context, that they've experienced something, they don't know what it is. And so therefore they want to know how to deal with something like that, or it is just their experience. So Tom goes and interviews these people to find out what their experiences are, and then I'm part of a panel, so I'm the psychic on the panel to give my opinion on that, whether or not I've been into that place myself. And then we've got a historian, Eli Lysett, who is a fantastic historian. And then he goes and he'll research it all. And sometimes that'll really make sense of why that person's experiencing that in that place. There could be something historical that happened there, that homeowner, or if it's in an outside area, because we've had a fisherman's tale as well, when he was outside in the open and he's experienced something. So what happened on the land that could have created that? And then we've also got Tom Page, who he's a skeptic. And so you've got lots of different sort of opinions as to why something can happen. I like it that there's different viewpoints there.
I always feel sorry for skeptics, because at the end of the day, when they're kind of put with so much evidence, that I think they start changing their minds.
Yes,
They could.
yeah,
That's beautiful. I mean, that would add so much texture to the programming, all those different layers weaving together, and allows everybody to kind of find themselves in a situation. Or maybe on one situation, maybe a little more skeptical, but another one, you kind of feel it and it's like, oh yeah, okay. And just being exposed to someone like you, Jackie, I feel my my psychic meter is increasing, right? So it's like that passive gift that you offer to everybody, like all mediums, and you're an epitome of that. There's so much light coming through you. It just
Oh,
feels
thank
so
you.
good to be in your presence.
Oh,
May
I'll
I
pay
ask?
you later. I'll pay you later.
Okay. Oh, you're not supposed to tell anybody. Jackie, may I ask you maybe a slightly more of a personal question about this? Because, clearly you share your gifts, talents internationally,
Yeah.
but you also do a lot where you live. I'm
Mm.
curious because of all the centuries that you navigate through. Have you ever found an energy signature that you recognized?
Ooh.
Maybe like relatives, or maybe you were living in that time and space at a certain time. Would you
Oh,
be
yeah.
comfortable answering that, perhaps?
Yeah. Do you know, I'm a past life regression therapist as well. So I love anything to do with the past. And I have a great love of history. I love family history. um, as well. So I like going to places that have an energy, a history, and sort of, and having sometimes, you're absolutely right, that deja vu feeling of
Yeah.
having been here before. I don't know why. I don't know how I feel this. One of the places, it's not here in England, and I've been to this place 3 times, is Pompeii.
Ooh.
I absolutely loved being on Pompeii. Now, I've been fascinated with Pompeii since I was a
Yeah,
child.
me too.
I really feel a connection. When I was in Pompeii, I went to Herculaneum as well, and I really felt more of a connection, I have to say, with Herculaneum
Oh,
than
okay.
I did with Pompeii. So I think it may just be the time. Uh, that time that happened, or that time of, not particularly when Pompeii was buried or anything like that, not particularly that time, but I feel as though I have a connection with those time frames. It's familiar to me. I feel it's familiar to me. So that is one. But an interesting thing is, and this is in Canada, um, the house that our producer lived in Toronto. I said that wrong, really, didn't I? I should have said Toronto if I'm really being Canadian, but in Toronto. So Michael Lamport, who's the producer of Rescue Mediums, he lived in a house that my great uncle had lived in. He was the
Oh,
first occupant in the house, and that's how Michael and I got together.
wow.
It's a long story, but yeah, that's how we sort of. So when I've been there, I have encountered my great uncle Oliver, and if it hadn't have been for
Neat.
great uncle Oliver and my great aunt Perdita, who came from England to Toronto
Ooh.
and lived there, then rescue mediums would never have happened.
Oh my God,
It would
yeah.
never have happened. So that, to me, that is spirit. Them lot upstairs, as I call them lot upstairs, saying this is where you need to be, and there's a reason why you need to be there. You know, so that is a very, very personal thing for me, to be able to have gone there on many, many, many occasions, and stayed there in that house on many occasions, and encountered my great uncle Oliver, and feeling so at home there with him. It felt like family. I did feel family, a real strong family connection there. So
Wow.
that's on a very personal level. Not so much here in the northwest of England where I am, or different parts of England that I feel comfortable with. One of the things that my dad always felt, uh, he uh, he was sort of open to what I did, and he was always interested. He believed in what I did, and when we were younger, we used to go down to the south of England, to a place called Weymouth. as kids, we'd go there as a family holiday, and it's a long drive. So my dad would take turns with his mate. We'd go in a little van. All us kids would be on. They'd make like little beds in the back. So you wouldn't be allowed to do it now, but there were two shelves with kids in. There was my mum's friends' kids and me and my brothers there, and there we are on these little shelves with my mum and her friend on little campus seats right at the very back facing each other, and then my dad and Fred would be driving, taking turns to drive, and they would stop at a place. We'd stop at a place called Bath on the way there, because that was a point where you would stop and you'd change drivers, you'd have a bit of a walk around. My dad said that he had been to Bath before in a different lifetime. He said, I know that if I walk down that street, I know exactly where I'm going to be. I know exactly what's around that corner. And he knew that. He was so convinced that's he knew that place, that we did some research, and everything he said was absolutely what he described, and he could not have known that because he'd never been to Bath except to change drivers, on our route down to Weymouth. So yeah, so that was like a deja vu thing for him that fascinated him.
That's
I love that.
That's it must be nice to, have that with a father, especially. I mean, mothers usually can get that their children are psychic because they're psychic, like just naturally. That a mother is kind of into, but dads sometimes poo-poo that, thinking it's less than scientific. But it's so interesting that you've got that from your dad as well. So yeah.
Yeah,
How,
yeah.
how
And
about your mom? Is
both my
she gifted?
grandmothers as well.
I said, is your mother
Say
is
again.
gifted as well?
My mum she's 93 now. She's in fact, I shall be seeing her very, very shortly. She's 93 now, and she's always believed in the spirit world. She believes very much. Both my parents very, very supportive of everything that I do. My dad, of course, now is part of my spirit team upstairs. Um, but she's always been aware of that. She has seen something herself and wasn't sure what she'd seen. She rang me up and she said, this was a good number of years ago. My dad was still alive then. And she said, I've just seen something really strange. She said, I went out to get some coal because we've got coal fire. I went out to get some coal. I brought the coal bucket in and I was going to put some coal on the fire. She said, and there was a soap bubble on the coal, and it went into the fire with the coals. She said, but it didn't pop. It stayed there, and then it stayed there for the longest of times, and then it just disappeared. And she said, what do you think it was? And straight away I had an image of my uncle, Peter, who is my mum's brother-in-law, so her sister's husband, who was in spirit. I said, I think it's Uncle Peter. She said, that is really weird. She said, I had a dream about Pete last night. She said, I said, what did you dream? She said, I dreamt he was coming up my stairs. And I said to him, what are you doing here, Peter? You've never been up my stairs before. And he said, oh, I just thought I'd come and say hello.
Wow.
And she had that dream the night before. So I'd say, yes, she's got a psychic ability, but never really used it, but she's aware and she's supportive of it. Yeah.
Wow. That's cool. Wow.
Very cool. And I think, going somewhere, having these, spontaneous deja vu experiences, I don't know, could that be a bit of a reclaiming moment, or claiming, or coming into a whole integration of parts of us
Why not? Yeah.
maybe that we've experienced before, and it just gets reignited, and that might even be like beautiful doorways to all these other skills to start popping open and coming online. Yeah, maybe, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, could very likely be. You know, it's like a trigger. You think of something and it's a trigger to something else, you know. So
Yeah.
a piece of music, for example, can link you back to a situation or a person, or a situation of something that happened to you that was happy or sad or scary even, you know. And so the same with objects, or places like you said, a doorway, you know, a door that reminds you of a door that you've seen before. So is that the trigger to somewhere else, you know, to a part of us that have experienced something there? You know,
Yeah.
it fascinates me. I just absolutely love what I do. I love waking up in the morning and looking forward to working with spirit in whichever way they want me to work. You know, I have no intention of retiring. My husband retired 3 years ago, and I have no intention of retiring because I just love what I do, you know.
Yeah.
You know, as you will as well, all of you will as well love what you do, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of
Definitely.
a calling. It's not really a choice. It's like it's part of your life. So you can't. Not, why
Yeah,
would you give it up? It's not like accounting. You can just go. Yeah.
Yeah, and I had
yeah.
a similar experience listening to music in one of the kind of like church places I go to here. They played an old song called One Foggy Day. It was about walking in London, and I've never heard it
Oh.
before. I think Bing Crosby was one of the people who recorded
Oh.
it. And suddenly, two female ancestors just woke up in my body, and
Wow.
they were loving the song, and they were being able to experience a favorite song of theirs, like kind of vicariously through me. And that was
Yeah.
Wow. I love that.
undeniable experience,
Oh, right on.
undeniable. So I'm loving, Jackie, that you brought up that thing about, these triggers, these doorways to
Yeah.
a wider aspect, because that expands our consciousness, and ideally we bring
Yeah.
our awareness along with it, and you've just helped me with that, so thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, and you've just said something that also sort of triggered something with me as well, because I was doing a meditation one day. It was just like I was getting ready for the day, just doing a meditation, chatting to my spirit guide, which I do every day, getting my list for the day. And then all of a sudden, I was somewhere else completely, and it was unexpected. And I was sitting by an oak tree, which I understood to be the tree of life. You know, it was just there, and around the tree were a lot of women, and I realised that they were my grandmothers. I could see my
Oh.
grandmother, I could see two of my grandmothers, and their mothers and their mothers. So these are all part of
Wow.
my I've obviously not, I've met my grandmothers, I've not met my great grandmothers, but I just felt that they were part of me. And then it became, of course, not just the oak tree, it's the
Beautiful.
family tree, and the lineage was, and they were all the females. So I call it the meeting of the grandmothers. And I
Wow.
sort of brought that then into a meditation. That's what spirit tend to do with me, is they'll take me on a journey, and then I have to write it down, and then that is a meditation to use in a workshop or whatever. But that, I felt that was a very, very personal one, seeing both of my grandmothers and their mothers,
Wow.
and their mothers beyond that. So I couldn't see the others around the other tree. I just felt the energy. I saw
Yeah.
the ones that I was familiar with, and photographs that I've got of my great grandmothers,
Wow.
and then the others were there as well. But I knew who they were, and there were none of the male energies there, who I'm still close to the male energies. But these were all the females, and these were a very strong
Mhm.
connection with Mother Earth, of course, is
Oh,
the feminine.
Oh,
Yeah.
how beautiful.
precious.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that very
Isn't that
personal
beautiful?
side of yourself.
I
Oh,
loved it. I loved it. Yeah, it's lovely. It is lovely. And, when you can have a chat to them as well, and it's that, which I think I was so, I want to say the word gobsmacked. I was so
Oh,
gobsmacked that it's like, oh
oh
my
man.
goodness, look at all of these gorgeous energies here. So, but, since then I've had quite a few conversations with some of them. One of them, who is my great grandmother on my mum's side of the family, um, She died in 1926, so my mum didn't even meet her, but she is very prominent in a lot of, I suppose, particularly when I'm mentoring or teaching, she comes into the students quite a lot. Her name is Mary, and she comes in quite a lot. And to help with different things. She's very quick-minded, very practical in how she presents things. So when she steps in, I know there's a very good reason for her stepping in at that point. She's quite a creative individual.
That's amazing. Jackie, we're getting towards the end, but before we have you pull the card, can you tell people where to find you and what's the best way? Because you're obviously still working, so I know your shows and all the things that are going on, but and we can find you on veryparanormal.com. But you're still doing readings and you do them by email as well, I hear? And so can you?
No, I don't do email readings. I do one-to-one readings. Whether it's via Zoom or WhatsApp or in person. So I do that. I used to do email readings many years ago, but I don't do that anymore. It takes up such a lot of time, and I like to see people. I don't like telephone readings. I like to be able to see somebody's energy because I like to read their aura as well. So you can, and I teach, of course. I either teach one-to-one or classes online or in person. www.jackiedennison.com, and then all of the other platforms are you can get from there. So you can go to Feathers Academy from there.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, you can go to Haunted History from there. You can go to wherever my Facebook accounts as well. You can get to from there, and veryparanormal.com, of course, and Inspect Paranormal. So but if you just go to jackiedennison.com, you'll find me there, and then you can contact me. There is a contact page, so you can contact me there, or via Facebook, of course. And give me a nudge if I don't reply straight away. It's like, just give me a nudge. I wrote to you 3 days ago. You've not gotten back to me yet. Yeah, I'm really sorry about that. But just because I don't have one of those automated things saying I'm out of the office. It's like I like to, and I don't have an online diary. I do everything. I like to do things myself. I'm very much a control freak. That's never ever changed.
That's sweet. Would you mind sharing a card with us for our audience? It'll be for the last in November, or
So I'm going to use
on the 23rd. I'll be in Victoria. I can say that here because nobody's going to see. Oh, who's that? Oh,
I'm going to use these cards. They're called Angel Wisdom Tarot, and they are by Radley Valentine. So that's what I'm going to use today. I'll give them a shuffle, and I'll see if anything flies out of here. If not, I am just going to take the card that's on the top, and that is, oh, how lovely is this? Look at this. Look at this beautiful girl here.
Oh.
Isn't she lovely? Oh, she's so gorgeous. So this is a 6 of Earth. And this is someone who gives out. This is somebody who gives of their energy to other people, their time, their energy. It can be financial things, but this is an abundance. This person is giving out an abundance of things, and she's receiving it back, whether it's a she or a he, receiving back. So the good that you do, the more you say thank you for the good things in life, and the more you follow that route of giving and receiving, it's an energy flow between one and another. So an unexpected inflow of abundance, and I wish that for you all.
Awesome. We all accept.
Thank you so much. And TK or T-Dubs or all my 2 T's.
Are we going to ask Jackie a question or questions?
Yeah, pull a question card.
She pulls a question card now.
A conversation starter.
Yeah, I got a little they're kind of like icebreaker questions. So I'm just going to pull one randomly, and this is like something fun. Something fun. Okay, this one here. And Jackie, your question du jour is, oh my gosh. I think we've done this 3 times and I pulled the same one every time. That's interesting. Jackie, if you could invent a new holiday, what would it be and what would it celebrate?
If I could what? Invent a new holiday?
Yes.
World peace.
Yeah,
It would
nice.
be a World Peace Day where everybody celebrates the being here on this planet at this moment in time and loving every minute of being here and sharing that with others. That's what I would invent.
Let's do it. Woohoo!
Well, let's start today. In ourselves, every day can be World Peace Day. Thank you for that beautiful answer.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much.
I don't know why that one keeps pulling because the papers are all identical. So
must be a good one. Yeah.
Must be. Yeah.
Must be a good one. Thank you again for joining us, and we hope to have you on again next year. As we know everything. There's new stuff that comes. You do every year, so and we like to check in with you. We always say she's the boss of the veryparanormal.com, and we have to, we're so happy to be hosted on there and catching up on there, so people can find us on that as well, and all your rescue mediums and all your other shows on there. So it's awesome, and a good place to hang out when you want some entertainment that's not canned, and it's free. That's the nice thing too. So
it's living. It's living history. Yeah.
Yes.
So
thank you.
Thank you. Teresa, you got anything? T-Dubs, anything left? No? Okay. Thank you so much again. Just hang on at the end of the recording and we'll catch up for a sec there. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
And thanks everybody for joining us. Remember to like and subscribe our YouTube station, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Check out our new, I've revamped the YouTube. It's much easier to navigate this season on it. So we're going to be doing some more revamping. Please subscribe because it keeps us inspired. Thank you. Thanks.
Okay. Bye-bye, everybody. Until next